there's people that are like, yeah, we're in Swananoa. We keep hearing that there was a smell of death and all these people died and stuff, but we're all here. We're all alive. Stop over dramatizing things and blah blah blah. And number one, like my logic is saying, well, the people who died that ended up in the Swananoa Valley probably weren't from Swananoa.
Hmm.
Like the way the water was rushing and where it came from. But
Yeah.
I still can't understand. Maybe they just want to like I
They
don't know,
want to
move
forget.
on
Yeah.
and pretend like it didn't happen. But it's like, how the hell do you do that if you're like living in a tent? Like, I don't understand that. Like, why it's like, no, 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 nobody died, everything's fine. Like, we interviewed Vivian, who does a lot of the coordination for this stuff
Yeah,
through
she
our
does
church.
stuff with our church.
She was talking about a lot of people are afraid to talk about how bad it is and things like that because they're afraid that they won't get helped as far as claims for their property and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard any of that from people, like what they were saying about like, um, I don't want to talk about this. I'm afraid to talk about that, or that you saw were in complete denial. Like everything's fine.
Groups are groups are getting active. As far as the group saying that, like I said, even so when I was there was probably a month ago now, maybe a little more. So maybe the smell's dissipated now. But even when it was at its peak, it was still only a certain area.
All right.
Right.
I can show you a picture where it is. I don't know how to explain it, but um, this is one area where they're excavating into the river, and that was like the spot.
Oh,
So
I bet.
I mean, even in its peak, you still had to be in this one area. From my
Yeah.
experience, I don't know. There's probably other areas as well, but so I don't know about that. But as far as people downplaying it, I don't think I had anyone downplaying. I definitely had people that was hesitant and not wanting to talk about it. But
Mm.
Yeah.
I didn't have anyone say like, "Oh, it wasn't that bad." Like I don't think anyone can say that with a straight face. Like that's
I mean, what was the biggest concern other than their, I mean, so when you came the first time, obviously it's like food and just normal supplies and stuff. And then the second time you were helping people to fix things. But was there any concern about health? Like you're talking about like mucking out the houses and stuff, and I'm hearing from people that's like dangerous.
Yeah.
But was it just like they're trying to hold on to like whatever property they have? Or, obviously maybe that's where they have to live, but were they concerned at all?
oh yeah,
Like this.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I
So
mean,
they have some kind of
we got a
knowledge.
family right now where it's mom and dad and three kids, and they were minorly affected by the hurricane, but water came in somewhere, and they have so much mold in their house now. All three of their kids have been in the hospital.
Oh.
As of the last 3 weeks, I think they were all in there for 2 of those weeks. They had
Oh my God.
different spurts. They just got out 2 days ago, again with one of them. So, I mean, there's a lot of concerns with mold. I mean, that's kind of the only rebuild phase we've been a part of so far is Pensacola. And that was basically just ripping out the floors and the walls, putting in dehumidifiers in every room, keeping those empty, and spraying for mold every day. So they're just trying to, yes, they're concerned, but they're still trying to salvage what they can. I just don't. It's such a
Yeah, but you're literally there trying to, fix that problem. Like you said, you're spraying for mold, you're tearing out the nasty stuff. Like, so that is some hope right there. Like, we've encountered since the beginning a whole lot of sickness,
yeah.
odd sickness, like bad immune system type stuff. Legionnaires is like real heavy right now in Marion.
Sure, that's what I have.
Yeah, yeah, we're almost positive. Like she had pneumonia,
It's
but
still hanging
obviously it's
in
a
there.
certain kind of pneumonia. Did you encounter a lot of people that were actually sick?
Honestly, no. There was one guy, my partner had to get one of those like Walmart inhalers, um,
Yeah.
just maybe the air quality, but he said that that's conditional for him sometimes, so that could have just been him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But volunteers or people that I've ran into, no, but we did. This one guy got bit by a brown recluse in his back. Got out,
Oh.
yeah, got out of the hospital the day The day after we got there, our last trip, he came back to the camp. He went on a search and rescue mission. He found somebody. First, he found a body. And while going to retrieve it or get closer to it, he said his boot took a small sip of water. He couldn't even feel the water in it. And just right here was a blister about that big.
Yeah, that's the picture.
Yeah, I saw that
Yeah.
picture. Yeah.
Oh, that looked so painful.
Where was that at?
That was in Pensacola.
Okay. And that was like was it like a river or creek, or was it just
Cane Creek.
Mm.
wow. See, that's like all of a sudden become my main concern, because it's like that stuff is long-term danger. You know, people get real illnesses from that. It isn't just, we heard about well, I heard about today some firefighters up near that Lake Douglas, where somebody drove into the water,
Mm.
and just the other day, and they jumped in there to help them and got burnt. Like it burned them up, like the
Yeah,
chemicals that were in the
burn.
water. Like I'm sure you saw out there, like you said, about the washers and dryers like 40 feet up. You're talking like gasoline,
Propane,
diesel,
yeah.
propane, like household chemicals. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, come on, dude. Like,
Just at best, like we know that's in there. Like
right.
Exactly.
that's
And there's
best
all
case
kinds of
scenario.
stuff that we don't even know. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see a lot of mangled cars and stuff that got swept away?
Yeah.
Cars,
Yeah.
trucks, dump trucks, tractors. I mean, all of it.
Wow.
Well, you had to go to the hospital yourself, though, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I got a heart doctor appointment Friday. So I got to get the Holter monitor on. So I got to wear that for a week or two.
What happened with that? Was that because of you working there, or just?
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. We were camping in that dust, the video that you saw.
Yeah, yeah.
That video was at about midnight.
Oh my God.
Machinery going. The wind was not even blowing. So that's just about as settled as that dust gets. So
Not even imagine breathing that in 24 hours a day.
it's brutal because I mean, during the daytime, heavy machinery is going 24/7. So it's crazy. So I mean, if it's not that, then it's a fluke somewhere else. But I came home, got home at like 10 p.m., went to bed, fine. That next afternoon, my heart was feeling a little racy. Um, that evening, it was slowing down.
Mm.
And then it started hurting. Then my right here, my arm started hurting. It was tingling, the whole left arm. Then the tongue started going numb and tingling.
Oh yeah, that's like the stuff that we had happen at the Greenway.
Yeah. Where you think that you're having a heart attack,
Yeah.
basically.
My tongue, that's when I was like, oh shoot, oh God, like this isn't normal. So
Yeah.
that was at about 10 p.m. and about midnight, from 10 p.m. to midnight, I'm sitting here like this, just monitoring, and it is going like it's beep like that,
Mm.
Oh, wow.
and then it steadily was just going from like that to
Oh man.
Not,
do that every 10
That's
seconds.
scary.
Then about 11 is where it gets tricky. It's going, and then it just stops. And then it felt like a muscle cramp. It was like pressing up against my rib cage. Felt like a
Oh my.
muscle cramp, like it tightened up and like pushed up against my rib cage.
oh,
And it didn't beat for 15 seconds. And it did that a few
Oh.
times. And I was like, oh no. And now I feel lightheaded. Now I'm concerned. I was
Mm.
concerned, but pretending like I wasn't before.
yeah.
Life up. I'm like, I need what's going on, feel this. And she goes, yeah, it's beating really inconsistent, weird. Like, I don't know. And I'm like, I don't know either. And
Yeah.
I know like anxiety exists. So I'm like, I am not anxious in any way, shape, or form. It's going
Right.
slow. It's going more slow than it is fast at this point. It's going 60 BPMs more so than 120. So I'm like,
Huh.
what's happening? So lucky me, I wake up the next day and my partner Eric sends me that picture of his eye.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, and mind you, this is the second official day we're back. So I'm like, what's up with your eye? He goes, man, I think it's from that freaking drop of water that I felt got in my eye. It's like, oh man. So 2 hours goes by. He goes, I had to go to the hospital. It was leaking pus. Couldn't
Oh,
open it. Doc said it was a chemical burn. That's now a chemical rash. He had to wear an eye patch for a couple weeks. Couldn't do any lifting because any strain, and I quote, could rip his eyeball in half. I said, what?
my.
I said, what are you talking
Dude,
about?
that is scarier than hell. If you're going through your daily stuff, like, well, I can't get strained, my eyeball will rip in half.
That's
Oh,
exactly what I thought. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to the hospital. So I call
yeah.
it urgent care, and I was like, hey, can you guys handle this, or should I go to the ER? They said, come on in. Um, they rushed me back. They hooked me up to the EKG and the little finger thing, and they immediately are like, we need to get you to the ER. We'd ambulance you there, but it'd be quicker if you just go now. Went and sat there for 4 hours or so, and they let me go. They said all my tests were immaculate. They said
Oh my God.
said you should be a poster child for your test results. That's how good every single one of them were.
Wow.
So what's going on with this? They're like, oh, we're just chalking up to an arrhythmia, maybe potential AFib. So they just diagnosed me with that. That was what
Yeah.
my paper said. And they said they wanted me to do the Holter monitor. So got to see if I got any regular heartbeat now. I don't know.
That's
It was
Never had a
crazy.
heart problem before? Like you didn't have?
uh,
No.
no,
Did you happen to have uh, one of those?
no,
No.
Okay, you didn't get
Okay,
that done.
good.
All
So
right.
none of that.
no, no.
'Cause I was gonna play doctor and tell you, no, it wasn't the environment here to do that to you. I'm pretty sure a certain
Oh,
doctor that told everybody to get that did that to you. So
Good man. He's here for us all, isn't he? No, I actually
yeah,
I've got a few family members that happened to who got the jab.
yeah, we
who
have
had heart
several.
issues?
Yeah, yeah, hospitalized. My aunt and
Oh,
her husband.
Yeah, I mean it's fact now. I guess you
yeah.
supposedly can talk about it out in the open.
Without getting
But
flagged.
yeah, that is a fact. And I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like I ask people because I mean, it's a fact of life now. Just like
Yeah.
being exposed to stuff here is a fact of life now. You know, a year from now, if somebody's having a breathing problem, I'm going to ask them, did you by any chance start having this back last November?
Yeah, no, it's a
You
real
know,
thing. Real thing. I
Yeah.
mean, we went like a little semi-viral for that post and saw a bunch of comments like he's fine. He just got the booster shot, and I'm like,
Oh my
I
goodness.
don't partake in all my comments, but and, like a lot of people, like he's fine. He just got the booster. He just got the vaccine. I'm like,
Oh wow.
great theory, great theory. But
like everybody's got that heart problem now. About
yeah,
90% of people.
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, Doc didn't seem too concerned at first. The first doctors were saying like I'm right there on heart attack numbers.
Right.
Second doctor, it basically after an hour or so of hooked up to the machine, it leveled out.
Mm.
And with that and the test coming back good, he was like, I mean, you're not. He's like, the one thing I don't know why this happened. He goes, I can tell you something happened. I can't tell you why it happened, but I can tell you you're not going to die tonight. I
All
said,
right.
let's go home.
Thanks.
I said, let's go
See, I
home. I didn't know when I hear your chest will hurt, I'm thinking your chest will hurt. Here
Mhm.
was hurting me. Well, apparently
Yeah.
yeah.
that's what it means. So
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll chalk it up.
Yeah.
I think that they said if I had one, they'd be able to tell.
I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
hope.
they can. They can pretty much tell you we're pretty damn sure.
They sure don't like to tell people much though about. I mean, when I went for the first time I went to get checked for pneumonia, of course they did the COVID test, and the flu test, and all that crap, and then they did the chest X-ray, and they're like, "Yeah, you have, bacterial pneumonia. Blah blah blah. Here's your meds." Sent me home, and then didn't say anything else at all. Like nothing. They didn't even take my blood or anything like that.
Really?
And then
They
like
just seen it in an X-ray or whatever it
yeah,
was, and
and four
uh,
days
We'll roll
later,
with it.
I'm laying in the bed and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm having pain like right here. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And it was like the worst, I can't even describe it. It was the worst pain. And it felt like I had to throw up. And I sat with a bucket like all night thinking, okay, I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up. Couldn't do it. and it was like such bad pain I couldn't even like walk or move or anything at all. And I'm coughing meanwhile, still. And finally several hours go by and I thought I was like gonna die in my bed. So I'm like, he's at work an hour away. I'm like, my mom.
I'm like, yeah, you gotta go.
I
It
text
sounds
my
like
mom,
pretty.
like, I need you to come and take me back to the hospital. I'm scared. And when I went in there the second time, they're like, when I finally got back there, the PA goes, well, did they tell you, how bad a case of pneumonia that you had when you came in? And I'm like, no, they just told me that I have pneumonia and sent me home with the medicine, and that was it. Like they didn't tell me anything about how bad or good or whatever. And she's like, well, you have a fight ahead of you, is what she said. And that water from my lungs was, and I don't know how this works, I'm not a doctor.
I
This is
looked
what
it
she
up and
told
it
me.
makes sense
She
now.
said water from my lungs was seeping down into my abdomen, and that's what was causing the pain. And I was like thinking, like, well, what do I got, a hole in my lung or something? But I guess that's a thing.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it happens, but very, very rarely.
And
There's a name for it, but yeah.
so yeah, then I spent like a couple days after that just feeling like I was gonna straight up like die in my bed, and you know.
Like I'm feeling bad about not. I mean, just like I like to think I'm an intelligent person, but our house here, we had several feet of water, but you could see on the side of our house, like where the water went several feet up, and our central air unit is there.
Covered that.
Yeah, so now I'm realizing, wait a minute, that air that had the E. coli in it and all that stuff, and then I look at our vents and our filter is just filthy, disgusting.
Quickly.
Now I'm
Yeah.
like, duh, man, like our damn our air that's circulating through the
We're
house.
probably breathing all that
Yeah,
stuff.
dude, we're breathing all the stuff that like it's sat here underwater for a few days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that ain't good to breathe.
That's
So
kind of like transporting me in my new way of thinking, and it's like I don't
I,
I don't know how to say it. I don't know what to do next for everybody. Like it's just not safe for everyone. Like at the end of the day, forget conspiracies, forget land grabs, forget what's right and what's wrong. It's like at the end of the day, you guys can't be sitting in that. Those 3 kids that have the pneumonia sitting in the moldy house, like
yeah.
we as humans aren't supposed to be living in that. And it's like
right.
rebuild everyone. It's like what do we do? Because at first and foremost, we just need safety. We need the kids to be safe. We need you guys to be safe. It's like
Yeah.
how do we move forward? Sure, we can keep you in that house, salvage that house, rebuild onto it. But if it's just gonna be killing you slowly, it's
Right.
Right.
my heart because it's like you don't want to tell people, I think the best thing to do is leave your home. But it's like
Yeah. I
thing for you
know.
to do is leave your I don't want you to get sick and die. Like because
Yeah.
I'm heavily affected by mold. I've got mold in this house right now. And
Mm.
like we're literally selling our house. We're treating it and selling our house. Like we're treating it. But I don't trust I'm so terrified of mold that I'm not gonna treat it and stay here.
The dirt's bad. It doesn't fix itself. The water's bad. Most people are breathing stuff from their walls that's bad. You could be in a store, it's the same situation.
Yeah.
The thing we love about this place is the water's crystal clear everywhere. It's the cleanest place I've ever seen in nature.
Yeah, I mean the IV bag water is literally from here because of how clean it is.
Yeah, through Baxter. Yeah.
And how it's not.
And I mean, aside from it not being idyllic, what I'm saying is that maybe, unfortunately, the smart thing for a lot of people to do is to go somewhere else.
And that really sucks. It really breaks my heart, for not just for the people that have like lost everything. Obviously, that's heartbreaking in itself, but it's like even just like the places, like right down our street, there's the Greenway and stuff where we love to take our kids, and you walk down through there, and we'd always go down in there barefoot,
Yeah.
and swimming and all that stuff. And I'm just like, when summer comes, I'm gonna be terrified to let them go anywhere in there. I can't let them play
Yeah,
in
it
the
burns your
water.
throat, burns your,
Just you saying that made me cringe because I saw the first and second trip, I saw 2, 3 groups of kids each trip with 3 to 5, 6 kids each time jumping in the creeks, in the rivers.
Wow,
Well,
really?
yeah, it's what they're used to. They're probably thinking, well,
Damn, they're still doing it?
we're not in school, you know. That's probably.
Oh
Oh,
God.
that's terrible.
And they're
That's
watching kids. They're sitting there. One of them was splashing each, and I'm like, no, it's getting in their eyes. Like I was sitting there, super dad mode. I'm like, no, like, and mind you, like this was right when I started developing that rash on my leg from that the shower, the trickling shower water. Like, and again, I can't stress enough. It was literal drops. It wasn't like low pressure. Like it was just trickling,
Jeez.
submerged in this water. So I'm like, it just breaks my heart. Like there's so many kids up in Pensacola, babies, infants, just
Hmm.
breathing in the dust, and it's like I'm there for. I think I was on there for 5 or 6 days, and this happened to me. And again, it could be unrelated for all I don't know, but I don't think it's unrelated. I'll say that, but
Yeah.
But your buddy definitely
that
had a
100%
Yeah.
with that. But it's just sad because I mean, the day one we get there, all right, cool, we're blowing our nose, black dust, okay, whatever. The second day, now we're having troubles breathing. It's like low energy, and it's
Yeah.
like you just look around. I mean, there was so many tears shed by between the both of us, just looking around, just being like, "Will you go home in 4 or 5 days?
Mm.
These people have been here and will be here for God
yeah.
knows how long. Like that
Yeah.
kid that I'm looking at right here will be breathing that in. That
Yeah.
dog will be breathing this in, and we don't know." One thing that I'll say about that dust that would be my biggest red flag slash concern. I was told by everyone, wipe all your camping gear off before you take it into your house. We just don't know what's in the dust or the dirt.
Mm.
Well, that makes sense. It took me about a day and a half to do so. Crazy.
Yeah.
So much dust. I wiped everything down 2, 3 times. That being said, I let it all dry overnight, came back the next day to get it. If you put it in the sun and you just like had this mouse and you just all you see is metal flakes still on it. So there's metal flakes in that air. Guaranteed.
Wow. That
Guaranteed.
sucks.
There's
Oh man.
a lot of metal flakes. Like it was, I mean, I guess it could have been fool's gold, but again, like when you're wiping it off, that it's got to have some mass to it to stick to that surface when not.
Yeah.
So I I chalk it up to metal, and it was a
Crazy.
lot of it. I can't. If you would have seen how much I scrubbed my stuff and then saw it, you'd be like, and
It
then
just
Man.
and then
wasn't going away.
Here at the corner of our street, and I'm talking like not even what a quarter mile. Uh, there's like Lowe's and Wendy's, and like it's a little shopping complex down there. And
Yeah, right next to the Greenway. Yeah.
the water down there got so high that it was like over the top of the Wendy's sign. It's like way up in the air, and over the like top of the doors of Lowe's and stuff like that. And I mean that's literally I can walk there in like 3 minutes from our house.
Yeah, it's
And
less than a half mile. Yeah.
so the dust, like after all that water dissipated, the dust for I mean like a month up until like a couple weeks ago, it was just constant. And even it's still some in like the stores, like there's still dust inside Food Lion and stuff.
Yeah.
But like there, it just you'd walk through there and it was like felt like an old Western movie, you know, like someone's about to have a
yeah,
duel. There's
yeah.
just dust all over the freaking place, and I'm like looking for
That's what I kept
tumbleweeds.
thinking about too. I was like, "Where is John Wayne at? He's gonna come
Yeah,
out somewhere.
I
He's
know.
somewhere around here." Where-
Like, holy crap! Like it just, I kept thinking of the movie Rango with the. Like this is just.
I think that
I
dust. I think that
got,
dust is gonna be a big problem. I mean, because I know I got many people boots on the ground that I talk to, and those whole the mud's eating through the boots things like that's real.
yeah,
Yeah.
Hasn't
we
happened
I've
believe
to
heard
it.
the
me.
same.
I've had rubber boots, hazmats, or muck boots. So whenever I was in mud, I've never and I rinse them off immediately. But
Hmm.
I mean, I've gotten pictures, and now I'm thinking about it, all of them were in Swannanoa that said that in Batcave. But I mean, just eating boots, it's like
Yeah, that's insane.
that's concerning. That's very. I
Yeah,
mean,
right.
Just a
Yeah,
little bit.
a little
we
Well,
concerned.
did this walk out in Burnsville. This lady, she got a divorce a few years ago, put all of her belongings in 2 storage containers, and traveled the country. Well, actually, she went to Egypt for a couple of years and then traveled the country.
Wow.
And water took it moved them all everywhere, and then just mud and water ruined everything she had. So we were helping her muck it out, and there was so much mold already. That was just 3 weeks in. There was so much mold. I couldn't see straight. We had to stop. But I had to find other crews to go help her. And I still feel horrible about that. Hey, sorry, Miss Tara. I still talk to Miss Tara all the time. Like, I felt that was my one defeat was we couldn't keep going. Well, we had all those heaters left, and I told you we were running thin on
Yeah,
time. So
that's in the back of your mind too, you know.
your storage units will be here. Other people might not be if they don't get heaters. So that was
Yeah.
the biggest factor. But the second, I mean, me and my partner, we couldn't see. We couldn't see.
Oh,
The dump was charging us $50, $60 a load. We had 20 loads to do. So we're like,
yeah.
it's just a horrible situation. But I mean, we could not see at all. And we had Tyvek and respirator masks on.
Wow.
Still
Wow, and that still wasn't enough. Jesus Christ.
couldn't see. Like again, mold heavily affects me. I will say that. I feel like it gets me a little bit more than anyone else. Like I got the sauce in me that just doesn't mix with it. But I couldn't see.
Right.
I felt like I was going to pass out the whole time, and we only ended up getting 2 or 3 loads for it. It was very upsetting.
You encounter like how they spruce pine, I know they have to put their sewage, they have to run their sewage into the water because like all the sewage lines are, you know, destroyed and everything.